Alright, let's just get right into it, guys. So, salvaging with the Vulture. Very profitable so far. I've made about 7 million, and I love the ship. It could easily be a daily driver for me. It's just a little slow and sluggish. I CCU'd from the Cuddy, and this is my only ship now. And it was a great choice because I'm making enough money to basically buy whatever I want in game without actually having to spend cash. My personal preference is between Lorville and Hurl L1, but any L1 or L2 station will work just fine. When I arrive at L1, I hit V to enter scan mode, and then I adjust with my scroll wheel down to 90-degree field of view. Go ahead and hit tab to start pinging, and you're looking for anything in the multitudes of 2,000. I find some salvage with RS signature of 6,000, which you know it's salvage because, again, it's in multitudes of 2,000. Now, 6,000 means it's supposed to be 3 pieces. It's 2,000 per large piece. But as you'll notice here, I actually find 4 large pieces. So don't get hung up on the number until you actually get close enough to see how many pieces are there, because it's not really reliable at the moment. Here you'll see 3 of those pieces. The round ones are worth 10 SCU, and the diamond-shaped ones are worth 4 SCU. The reason I said it's not reliable is because there's 2 more pieces here. That round one, which is 10 SCU and should have an RS signature of 2,000, bringing it us up to 8,000, did not show up on the scan. And there's that small piece of 0.75 SCU that's generally not worth salvaging. You'll notice here that I have a full filler station, and that's because after I get my 25 SCU of salvage, I always do a little bit more just to make sure that I have one left over for next time. So currently there's a few bugs with salvaging. The first one is when you have the braid and the cinch module installed, even though you select the braid, you'll start mining and halfway through or a couple seconds later, it'll automatically switch the beam to the cinch. Even though it doesn't show it as switch to the cinch, it actually makes a noise and it starts collecting like it is the cinch. So I fixed that problem just by uninstalling the cinch. So now all I have is a braid and I have no issues with that. I also tried installing the trawler, and even though the trawler was collecting at a much faster rate, and I mean like sometimes it would get up to 0.58, 0.6 SCU per second, unfortunately it's so inefficient that I was never able to get 10 SCU per piece. Well, at least for the curved ones. It would actually go from 10 to like 7. So unless you're able to find a bunch of salvage, it's really not worth using the trawler motor. And yes, I just said trawler motor. I know it's trawler head, but I just associate it with trolling motors for some reason. Another one of the bugs for the Vulture is in the middle of salvaging, all of a sudden you won't be able to pick up anymore. It'll just say 0 SCU even though it's showing that you're picking up salvage. I find that on high FPS servers, I tend to have less of that issue. But if it happens to you, just go ahead and move on because there really is no fix. You can try shooting at it, but it doesn't really help anything most of the time. And now on to how I fit 25 SCU boxes in the Vulture. Once you get the first 2 rows completed on the grid, then go ahead and start stacking them on the side. Just make sure to stack them width-wise, because they're not actual perfect squares, and you will definitely need the little bit of extra room when it starts getting towards the door. So, is 25 SCU boxes safe to stack in the Vulture? Well, personally, I haven't really had any issues, but I have heard plenty of other people exploding their ships. I'm not really sure how that's happening. Maybe they're just slamming the boxes in there, but if you take your time and put them in at a decently fast pace, you're not going to have any issues. So let's say you're brave and you want to go ahead and stack 25 SCU boxes. Then make sure that the RS signatures that you go after are at least 6,000. And let's say you get to that RS signature of 6,000 and you see 1 round piece and 2 diamond pieces. Well, you already know that's 10 plus 4 plus 4 is 18. At that time, you have to make a decision. Are you going to take the 18 and go back to Lorville to sell them? Or are you just going to go ahead and abandon that? Or are you going to go look for 2 curved pieces, a diamond, and then maybe a small one that gives you 0.75 SCU? And that gets you pretty close to your 25. That's the real power of knowing how much SCU you can get from each piece, because then you can actually plan accordingly. The next thing I want to talk about is what I call the drifting method. And you do that by finding a starting point and then move your mouse down slowly until you get to the desired SCU per second that you're trying to collect, which is usually 10 or more, and then just taking your hands off and letting it do the work for you, instead of constantly sitting there with your mouse trying to collect everything. A lot of times I'll start salvaging and then I'll alt-tab back out, change up my music a little bit, or even just jump in chat and talk a little bit while it's doing the work for me. Of course, that's completely up to you and however you enjoy salvaging. At the end of the day, all that really matters is how much SCU per second are you collecting, the efficiency which you are collecting at, and are you going to have enough to fill up your vulture with 25 boxes. Now that we're close to the door, go ahead and single stack the last 2 towards the door. I made a mistake here and actually had to bring it down, and that is so you're able to fit the SCU box between the other SCU boxes and the filler station. This is why it's so important to stack them widthwise, otherwise you will not be able to reach that eject button. Once you have your 25 boxes of RMC, it's time to head back to Lorville. Each box sells for around 7.5 to 7.7k. 25 boxes will net you right north of 190,000 AUEC. On occasion, you'll find that you're not able to sell the full 25 boxes. They may only take 24, and that's fine. When you get back to your ship, usually you'll find one sitting on your grid somewhere. Usually before heading back out, I'll go ahead and put that box towards the ramp. I'll go ahead and eject the last box of RMC that's in the filler station and go on my next salvage trip. Now, let's say you went to the TDD center to sell everything. You bring up your vulture's inventory and bam, nothing comes up. Don't panic, that just means you stored your ship. Unfortunately, in the current patch, it glitches out. So all you have to do is log out, log back in, go to the ASOP terminal, call your ship, and then go back to the TDD center and sell everything. It will show up. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Otherwise, thank you for watching and have a great day.